Our first case study today are echinoderms. Echinoderms are sea stars, sea cucumbers, urchins, and they have this really interesting pentaradial structure here with generally 5 different parts or extensions from a central part. The vasculature of a sea star or of echinoderms is called a water vascular system. And this is unique to echinoderms, and they have no distinct circulatory system. Instead, they have a network made of a madreporite, which you can see here, and a ring canal, which is in the central oral part of the body. And then they have these radial canals coming off of that ring canal into the 5 arms. These canals carry food, oxygen, and waste. This fluid is called coelomic fluid and is also responsible for moving and controlling the tubed feet. The fluid is going to enter and exit through the madreporite, and the coelomic fluid is responsible again for transporting all food, waste, gases, and also locomotion and helping them to eat. So it's really controlling their whole bodies. The tube feet are muscular extensions of the water vascular system that are in these closed cylinders with a muscle wall. They extend when they fill with water, and the end, which is a sucker, can be released from the surface by removing water from the tube. You can actually see the little tubed feet here, and they regulate that by adding water to it or removing water from it. You can see this water vascular system that is very closely in contact with the digestive glands and the stomach, so it's also helping transport all of those nutrients throughout the body. Our next case study are crocodiles. Crocodiles are ectothermic reptiles with unique adaptations in their circulatory system. Unlike other reptiles that we already discussed, crocodiles have a 4-chambered heart with the right and left sides similar in function to birds and mammals. Remember when we talked about reptiles, we talked about a 3-chambered heart. So crocodiles are unique in the fact that they actually have a 4-chambered heart. Crocodiles actually have 2 aortas, one exiting the left ventricle and one exiting the right ventricle. You can see that up here, the left systemic aorta and the right systemic aorta. Both of these aorta feed blood into the systemic circuit and eventually join into one aorta further down the body. These aortas have a connection by a valve called the foramen of Panizza, which can be regulated. They still have a separate pulmonary artery carrying blood from the right ventricle to the lungs for oxygenation. And you can see that here. When the crocodile is on land breathing air, the right ventricle does not have enough pressure to force blood into the right systemic aorta through the foramen of Panizza. And oxygen-rich blood profuses the body via the left ventricle. You can see that in B here, that the pressure in the right ventricle is too low to push open that flap into that other systemic aorta. When the crocodile is underwater trying to be stealthy and holding its breath, the pressure is going to increase and close an incomplete valve in that pulmonary artery, preventing full blood flow from the right ventricle to the lungs. This pressure is also going to open up that foramen of Panizza, sending some oxygen-poor blood from the right ventricle back to the systemic aorta. This prevents blood flow to the lungs when an animal isn't breathing, and the blood wouldn't be oxygenated at the respiratory surface. The right aorta supplies the brain and heart with oxygen, while the animal is not breathing, ensuring sufficient oxygen is delivered to these vital organs. To help reduce oxygen needs elsewhere in the body, the metabolism of a crocodile slows down significantly, reducing its heart rate to just a few beats per minute. This slow metabolism and the ability to redirect blood flow allows the crocodile to stay submerged for upwards of 2 hours. Crazy, huh?